Welcome everyone. Good morning. Take a deep breath. Sending lots of love and healing out to you guys. Okay, so I have a Divine Mass and Twin Flame read. It's a very unusual read, and I just want to remind you, any information that comes up during the read is not necessarily of my opinion. It is downloads that I'm receiving, as well as the read of the cards. Okay, so those of you not familiar with my read, it's a 7-deck read. So it's a lot of energy on the table. So if something doesn't resonate, please don't force it to fit. It is for the Divine Masculine Twin Flames, but that affects the masculine within the feminine as well. And yeah, we're going to get going. So the main deck is the SIRIAN STARSEED deck. We have the Mini Rider WAITE. We have the Gilded Tarot. We have the Golden Universal Tarot. We have Romance Angels, the Tarot of Sexual Magic. We have the Numerology deck. And I think I hit them all, right? And we'll pull an energy card at the end as well. So there's a lot of information that came up in this one, and it does go a little bit political today. So again, it's not about my opinions, it's just the messages that are coming up from the read. And I cut the SIRIAN STARSEED deck at 11:01 to 2, which is Justice. 1 and 2 are the Magician and the High Priestess. And at 11:11, as I was covering some of the words in the big cards, as I was clarifying the read, TALS, or tails, came up. And also phi and crystals was coming up. And crystals can reference Christ-like, because it's the Christ, and ALS references something that's like something. So crystals can reference literally being Christ-like, which we are going into the crystalline body, so it's a great reference. But also the F and the symbol of the phi were coming up here with tails. So this can reference heads, tails, and we got tails here. And this being the phi being the extension outside of our human bodies, reaching out, expanding, and knowing that at that point that we need to center ourselves again and be Christ-like. Okay, so I finished the read at 11:31, which is Justice, and the 31. 31 is a 4, but it's also the 5 of Wands, the expansion energy, so that's perfect with the phi, talking about expanding and coming back to center again. Again, the pulse, the heartbeat, the expansion and contraction, that in order to expand, we also need to contract back to center again, back to 0 point balance. So the major arcana for this read at 11:31, the Justice of the expansion, is Luna, which is the moon, and Indigo, which is the Magician, and a very young energy. There's a child on the card. Before the read, we have Reflection, which is the Hermit, and we had 4 pentacles in this read. 4 pentacles, that's a lot. We had 2 wands, 2 cups, and 1 sword. So pentacles isn't just money, it's all about day-to-day living, the practical things in your life, the things that you manifest. And we had the Page of Pentacles, the King of Wands, and the Knight of Cups as the court cards in the read. Page of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, King of Wands, and Knight of Cups. And then before the read, the Queen of Pentacles came up. So here we had 1 of each, a page, a knight, a king, and a queen. The queen in the underlying energy, and they're both the same suit, the queen and the Page of Pentacles. The code line was all about surrender today for the Divine Masculine. And the numbers, we had 666s, 99s, and lesser so 1010s. So 666s was the main. The code line, I didn't even write this down yesterday. It's all about it looks like 6 and 9, so that would be 15, which is the devil, which also then reduces to a 6 again. So it's all about the 6s today. The 666 comes up, and then the code line adds up to the devil, which is perfect, which just has to do with your shadow side. So it's focusing on the shadow side today, which this read definitely can go there a bit. And the message from the code line, well, first of all, the numbers, beside the 666s and 99s, and 666s again, the 666 is coming up about the devil because it has to do with the shadow side, and 6 itself has to do with love, family, community, which is our day-to-day life, which, the shadow side always comes up in our day-to-day life. It's always about the balancing the light and the shadow and erring to the side of light. So the 99 is compassion, whether it's compassion for yourself or others. It's nines are universal selflessness, having compassion, but also endings, and that's why so much compassion comes up at the 9, because it's the time where you're not allowed to go forward, because it's time to let go of things you no longer need. And it's hard when you want to go forward with something, you want something new in your life, but you're forced to stay still and let go of what you no longer need. And then the 1010 is just a reminder to always keep your vibration high and clear. The surrender, the sequence of numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 came up, so the second half of the cycle. And remember, 9 is the end of the cycle, not 10. 10's already bridged. 10 is the bridge to the next cycle. 9 is the ending. So this code line, all about surrender, and 9, 10 begin again, and then 45 came up too, which is the grieving process, which is part of the shadow that we see in ourselves, right, when we're sad or mad or not able to go forward. The code line being about source, saying. Phi is the IV of the journeyman, suffering in silence and surrenders, okay? Source is saying, and this can reference source and the moral man, the T and the Te, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Source says, Phi, like fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman, so there may be some Oriental language coming up there. Source says to use the Phi, the expansion energy, like IV of the journeyman. It's like the blood that runs through you to constantly expand, and then ground and integrate by coming back to center or 0 point again, by suffering in silence, and then learning to surrender to it so you don't suffer in silence, staying in the 0 point. So let's see here. And again, I didn't bring up today. Today's Monday, but this was done yesterday. I actually got a bit sick later in the afternoon because I wasn't eating right. I was at the beach with my son the other day, and then I had my daughter's friends came over and hung out with me, not last night but the night before, and so we ate out again, which I shouldn't have done. I'm pretty strict with what I eat, keeping it really simple. My body's always had struggles with some of the foods I eat, especially if I eat a lot of spices or pastas and things like that. So I had a really bad headache yesterday, and I just don't get headaches ever, so it was a bit of a struggle for me last night. I was getting nauseous and everything. But I put my heavy quilt on my bed last night from after not using it all summer, and boy, did that feel good last night. So anyway, today is the 21st, but when I did this read, it was the 20th, which is the judgment energy, and the day added up to 33 of the Christ vibration yesterday, which again is another 6. It's also the 7 of Wands, standing up for yourself without being defensive, taking the high ground, hopefully. And then today we're in the energy of the 34, which is the 8 of Wands, that back and forth energy, the arrows of love, the expression of your feelings and desires, and lots of flowing communication and travel. So today being the 20 and then the 21, so we go from the judgment to the 21 today of the world, which is completion as well. I'm trying to remember if the world was upright or reversed in this read. Well, it'll come up in the read. When I'm looking for a card, you should practice this. When because there's so many cards on the table, and I'm always looking over the cards to see what's upright and reversed. Whenever you're looking for something, it's really hard to find, because whatever you persist at, or whatever you resist persists, right? So if you think you can't find it, you're not going to find it. As soon as I say, for my guides, please show me where the card is, and I just let go and focus my attention to the center of the read, Spirit always guides me right to the card if I can't find it. Because literally I could spend, 5-10 minutes looking for a card and never find it. And granted, yes, sometimes there's a card missing because it's stuck under another card or it fell on the floor or something like that. But just to give you an idea of something you might want to practice yourself when you can't find something, to let go and just kind of just, let Spirit guide you to where it is. And Spirit will. Your guides are always there to help you. So for this read, the message here regarding surrender, which I was just giving you a little lesson in surrender, not meaning to do that. The source moral man knows, dawns, comes, rain, fire, water, 100 generation, sowing season of the fall, which we're in now, of the sandy, hot, dense Indian summer that comes after the summer, and the factor 4, which has to do with clotting, but here it can reference the emperor as well, in the journey of suffering and silence until you surrender. Or this is like when the brothers are fighting on the floor and the one brother says, I give, right? Stop. So I surrender, I give. So the teacher of feline immunodeficiency virus was coming up with that factor 4, and the emperor of clotting, and the 6 of the lovers, and the Sophia 9, the collective consciousness of the feminine, the divine feminine, of the Christ-like, the 9 of the hermit, the collective consciousness, the wise one, of the blind man, the orphans, the thoughts and words, and surrendering them all. A teaser, whether to thrust or hit the bottle. 5 to 6, or the factor 4, the 4 of, you have to factor in the 4, the emperor. The 5 to 6, 4, 5, 6 is the 4D bridge. Or the teacher of the 4, 5, 6, that 4D rainbow bridge in purgatory. The Christ-like suffering and silence, or a sister that may be involved. The 45 of the grieving, the lovers, being Christ-like. The emperor in his knowing, or Christ-like suffering and silence and purging, as the hermit or wise one, knowing that this too shall pass. All right, so this is your message from the code line today. As we started this read at 12:01 yesterday afternoon, the 8 of Pentacles was reversed, and that's the underlying energy here. Okay, so over here, and then we have the mini deck cards on top. The cards below that card were reflection from the bottom up, reflection reverse, which is the hermit, 6 of Wands upright, the journeyman, the 10 of Pentacles upright, that dream family. It can be a family, business, or community, or legacy. And that can be the country as well. And then the Queen of Pentacles was reversed along with that. So something that's not working, or there's just no ambition that you may have once had. Something's not working, perhaps going crazy, or having a parent there who is, or coming out of isolation on the journey to the 10 of Pentacles dream family, business, or community, or legacy, with the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and it's just not working. The journey of taming the beast in a bold move to surrender, coming out after losing your mind, post-war, of viruses and thoughts and words, with the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Or a parent with dementia is over the caregiving or the caregiver that they've received, post-war PTSD and looting and apologies needed over move or travel, and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, over surrendering and giving up. The war, no longer about someone winning. Soulmates or kids seen loving each other here in the recent past, with new where was that? Yep. With new information or clarity, of the Knight of Pentacles offering help, friendship, a message of death, ending, transition, or Scorpio, sharing or settling out, grieving, in a downturn, in a twist of fate, overworking or not working at all, or what you're doing isn't working. Lovers are happy with themselves, getting their wish, not worrying so much about every dime. Lovers satisfied just with each other, or just loving themselves. Satisfied even if they put on a few pounds, or on sitting at the Louvre, people watching, or the wizard with the curtain drawn, right, not hiding themselves anymore, or displaying all their achievement awards, or perhaps 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Expanding up from 3 to 4, settling for 2 of 4, or 4.5 of 9. They're just two different perspectives, but they're both half. No more, no less. at 12:21, which is that special 0 point. He may be sad without her, and she searching the heavens, he looking down, she looking up, which is very much about my statue right here. When you circle around this piece of artwork, you can literally see him looking, searching, being sad, looking down, and she's searching the heavens for her lost love. So he is looking down, she is looking up, and this had nothing to do with the statue, but it's the same energy from that. Knowing that she is abundant and provided for at 12:21. Gabriel said so with loving arms, and a strong sun, S-U-N, from the horse's mouth, hay, direct from the source, the truth, perhaps some apple a day, too. The horse always ahead of the game. The ayes and the nays, it's all in the game face. The Sagittarius's stallion, stellium. Politics, a group that resonates with each other. The pack can share the same space, field or gate, but there must be a leader of the pack. A leader? A leader of the pack? The horse and hound, the werewolves of London, a pound and sterling. Nothing wrong with gold, but on reserve for the lady of the house. Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and silver worth over 120 million. Mother Annunciata, her mother, was coming up. So Nancy Pelosi was coming up, but also her background. Her mother and father from Italy. Her father was very active in politics as well. And from what I found online, it looks like he was very, very connected with the mafia in that state. So, and it's questionable like how much money he's worth. Some say it was $1 million to $5 million. Some say he was worth 40 million. So obviously if he's dealing with money under the table, we don't really know what the truth is there. But it says that her worth is, I think Wikipedia said 120 million, but I think I saw another website that said 200 and some million dollars. Okay. So, and it's funny because it says that money is from their celebrity, and that they're the highest paid, one of the highest paid politicians. But, how do you get $200 million from $250,000 a year? And that's if you never spend a dime of what you earn, which a lot of politicians don't because they get a lot of money support from the community. And so that kind of energy in politics was coming up. Apparently it says in Wikipedia that her mother taught her very much because her father was already in politics, and her mother, teaching her daughter social networking to break the marble ceiling, quote unquote. So, yeah. So again, Nancy, her being reported to make $250,000 a year, and that's now, not 50 years ago, because nobody made that much money 50 years ago. But let's say it was $250,000 a year for 50 years. That's still $12 million. And let's say the $40 million perhaps her father had went to her, but she had 7 kids in her family. That wouldn't make sense either. So how do you go from, 12 million? That's without spending a dime of your earnings. So how do you get from 12 or even 50 million? Yeah, maybe 50 million, you're going to get to that 120 million. But, this is a what if situation. Okay, so it's just kind of questionable, like where did all that money come from? So from hotair.com, which I don't know if that's a trustworthy site or not, it was August 7th, 08. She sold books too, but it was saying in her first week she only sold 37 copies of that book. So it's not like the money was, coming in an amazing way from the book sales of that book anyway. This is just stuff that was coming up for me to see, so I'm just reporting what I saw. That was ocregister.com by Gloria Romero on 9/13/20. She wrote an article on the hypocrisy of the elite. Nancy at the spa without the mask, which I'm sure most of you know about. And then the San Francisco gyms open to the government workers For months, whenever no one else was allowed to go to the gym, where others were arrested just for opening their businesses to survive. The Philadelphia mayor forced lockdown of restaurants and then snuck across state lines to wine and dine. LA mayor shut off people's electricity for having too many people in their home in their backyard. But his power remained on, even though he marched with crowds larger than those in their backyards. Also defended police. She brought up all the different situations. The police enjoying 24-hour protection at home, and then prompting a police response when protesters arrive at their home, when cutting back the police because of the issues and the social distancing. And then Congressman John Lewis died and had numerous elected officials attend his memorial service, though while others were denied farewells to their deceased loved ones. So she listed 4 laws. Law number 1, laws are for thee, not for me. Number 2, power means never having to say you're sorry. 3 means if you call out those in power, expect the horse's head, which came up in my read there. And then number 4, when things get tough, close the debate and just move on. All right, and it's in a bit of energy of being condescending, like I am above thee. So after reading that, I want you to read what came up in the read, because this was before I was guided to look up any of that stuff. Gabriel said so with loving arms regarding the man and the woman, the twins looking for each other, right? The man looking down, sad he can't find her, and she searching the heaven for her true love, but they are provided for, knowing she is abundant and provided for. Gabriel said so. Gabriel with loving arms and strong sun. From the horse's mouth, so referencing God and this political stuff, from the horse's mouth, hay and the truth direct from the source, perhaps some apple a day too. The horse always ahead of the game, the ayes and the nays, it's all in the game face. The Sagittarius, stallion, stellium, a group that resonates with each other, the pack, can share the same space, field or gate, but there must be a leader of the pack. The horse and hound, the werewolves of London, of pound and sterling. There's nothing wrong with gold, but that's on reserve for the lady of the house. Okay, so again, the Speaker of the House was coming up there. So the hypocrisy of the elite. Hypocrisy of the elite. And at 152, which is the Magician and 52. And 52, so weird, when I fell asleep last night, my iPad was off, and it wasn't on auto videos. There shouldn't have been another video that came up, and it was off for like 5-10 minutes, and then all of a sudden a video just came on, and it was an ad, and I looked at it. It was just, I was seeing the number 52 really big, and then I woke up at 7:52 this morning, and here this is 152, which is the Queen of Swords, right? The Speaker of the House, the Queen of Swords, the one who speaks their truth. The 3 of Pentacles is out. The workplace being seen, or the place of co-creation, church and state, and being left out in the cold, getting away with it. A leopard doesn't change its spots. In the political tree, or the Catholic religious tree of the Vatican, the saviors and the victims game, of those included and those excluded, the rich and the poor, the famous and the nobody, because remember with church, if there is a church that you're a part of, then that means others are excluded from it. The elite getting away with it, hiding behind Mother Mary, the storefront for the mob. As long as I can go to confession and do my Hail Marys, I'm good. Tiptoeing through the tulips, lip service, secret societies of high priests and second to nuns, red socks with fuzz, male gypsy or gypsies, tramps and thieves are 1. Escaping in broad daylight, I was just getting one flaw over the cuckoo's nest. A few of the sane left, controlled by Nurse Ratchet, retaining power by not reacting no matter what, and back to 0 point again. Yet what was her ill intent? Using spirituality to not raise their vibration, but to be condescending and manipulate others to do what she wants them to do. The game changer, lobotomy, shock treatments, shock of their life. If that's not bad enough, make them your wife. Cut into their frontal lobe, their property, your property, ownership. The loony bin, Nurse Ratched, speaker of the all-male house, where she has their full attention, whether they like it or not. She has friends in takedown places, aides to the nurses' station, hose available when needed, and token Indian chief until they learn that he can speak, hear, and understand clearly, and makes his getaway. Wouldn't want in on it even if you paid him $120 million. The land and sea is all he needs. Thank you very much. No rat pack or wolf pack or DC pack, just perhaps a backpack and a good pair of shoes, and perhaps this lamp is all I need. The innocent taken advantage of no more. Institutional crime can't continue, and Spirit's connecting with me, if people... Institutional crime can't continue if people can't be bought and sold or traded at 12:20 or at 2:21. 2 is the high priestess, 21 is the world. Judgment reversed, the need to swallow your pride. No sweet way to put this, when toasting to the moon, the false light, and satisfied with big love through work at the logs and herbs in the pot, cracking the whip and pulling hair in front of the children, 39 lashes and bare asses, Ben-Hur and Chariots of Fire, all different dramas on 3, 6, and 10, soap operas, soapbox, black box, which references back to cognition. The black box is referencing cognition today, or understanding things, at 2:22, which is the show about guidance counselor and people in need of guidance, their own internal guidance. The black box was coming up from Wolfgang Kohler that I talked about yesterday regarding Gestalt. So the black box is coming back up here again, referencing cognition today and understanding. And again, we were talking about lobotomy as well. And then not only 3, 6, and 10, but the 3 levels of bad behavior, as in rating movies in RX or double or triple X movies. So behaviorism came up from Kohler as well, that he was against behaviorism at 2:30, which is the high priestess and the 4 of wands, stability, the home, because behaviorism solely acts easily. Solely acts easily observable and measurable thoughts, feelings, and processes that occur between the stimuli and the behavior, considered part of the quote-unquote black box or the cognitive process, which is not easily understood. Because you can't just observe what's going on, because you have to be part of the person to actually understand what's going on within. So he compared overt and covert behaviors using the heart rate and the blood pressure, which could offer additional insight. He complained of intelligent Jews being fired for no reason and refused to salute Hitler in each class. He actually protested and was surprised he hadn't been arrested, and eventually left to the United States. He wasn't going to put up with that anymore, but he actually protested, right out loud. He was very brave, and he had many thanks from actually both sides, the Nazis and Nazi parties, for having spoken up for them, not wanting to Heil Hitler after every class, of students, and not wanting to fire people who don't deserve to be fired. After many thanks from Nazis and non-Nazis for sticking up for them, but loving self enough to leave an unloving situation. Deliberations at night of self-love, happy loving work life, and harsh reality he was living in. The ayes and nays awash when hazings are looked forward to. One without respect for life, other than self, on the bell curve, polarized to extremism, no buts about it, yanking her ponytail. And here's the parts of the horse again. The parts are not equal to the whole horse in one piece, stealing for parts with negative energies attached to those parts. the whole human parts, parts of the whole, the gestalt, the whole much more valuable than all of its parts sold off. The collective consciousness raised, ante up, a higher calling, giddy up. The green lantern, flowered fan, variety of fruit to form and shape, rose petals atop of a dessert. A beautiful display of foot, toes, ankles, knees, knee-toe, toe-knee. Gee whiz, antimony, which is the dark eyeshadow, right? It's the atomic number 51, the King of Swords. When we're talking about the 42 of the Queen of Swords. The dark eyeshadow that's healthy, right? The antimony that you can put on your eyes and make your eyes dark, so your dark circles are actually healthy dark circles. And the ant in the human me, or anti, no, my, like a child would say, no, mine, or anti, no, my, autonomy, freedom to choose for self without interference. Autonomy, auto, no, my. Nomi means to suck, to name, or water, like a baby when they're born. The baby when they're born automatically suck, or auto suck, auto name, auto water. They cry, have emotions. This is autonomy, our human right to suck, to label, to cry, the automatic response system, immunity, and fight or flight. The body built to fear appropriately in an unconditional response. Fear gets your butt moving and out of the way of moving vehicles that are oncoming. Self-love. And beneath that was change. So after change, make sure to self-love, because there's expansion, so there's going to be imbalance. Our right to change our mind and our labels. The Empress reversed in lack, a need of a mother, or to mother your inner child. Rockabye baby on the treetop. Atop the family tree is the baby, the pure, the innocent. The innocent. And notice when you see the word cent, C-E-N-T, the definition is 100, not 100. It's the double zeros only without the 1 at 311, which is the Empress and Justice. The double zeros references God sent and smells so good. So again, rockabye baby on the treetop. Atop of the family tree is the baby, the pure, the innocent. The 100, 00, which references that support of God, because the 0 is the human embodiment of source. It's a lot of source energy backing you up. God sent and smells oh so good. And there's that reference of good as opposed to bad as well. So in this read at 313 to 314 here, 3 being the Empress, 13 being the death or transition, and 14 going into the angelic realms, the Temperance card, the higher love, the pie, right? The line staying within the human circle, the I in human, and the phi eye outside the human, or the fourth eye, the patience lost with the Page of Cups innocent, looking back at negative exchanges and clarity and new information. Sun up, exposing all, fully charged, the Knight of Cups coming in with love, toasting or toasted. The horse showing off their legs in an uproar. Bronze Jupiter and Saturn rings at Gemini and Aquarius prospectively. A 4-ring circus, 3 on the inside and 1 on the out. The 3-ring circus is pi, but the 4 rings in phi, 1 outside the human, expansion outside the lines, the outer limits of form and shape, foosball all lined up and ready to strike. 3, you're out of the park, that is. Yay, it's a home run, you crossed over. So I want to stop here too and reference, there's going to be more 4, not 3 groupings here that comes up in the read, but the way they brought this up to me is I hurt my inner ear, cleaning my ear the other day, and it bled just a little bit. So it was referencing the eardrum and that tiny hole puncturing through the wall of the eardrum, like the portal, because I've brought that up recently, where it looked like there was a pinhole in the middle of the gate or the portal. So just keep that in mind because this was important as this information was coming up, okay? So I'm going to say that again. So the Jupiter, bronze Jupiter and Saturn rings at Gemini and Aquarius respectively in a 4-ring circus, 3 on the inside, 1 out. The 3-ring circus is pi, but the 4 rings is phi, 1 outside the human. Expansion outside the lines, the outer limits of form and shape, foosball all lined up and ready to strike. And know that the foosball is like the phi, right? Because each one is like a circle where it rotates before the players are attached. There can be a circle like a phi symbol. 3, you're out of the park, that is. Yay, a home run. You crossed over. So this is talking about the punk, that tiny little pinhole through the glass ceiling. Adrenochrome, the sound barrier. The earlobe pierced through. The pinhole, the place marker. The pinhole in the eardrum, the sound barrier. The pi and phi, the eyes. So chrome and foam, and was just a question mark about, so if pi and phi are relationship to the eyes, what is the relationship to the ears? And the adrenals were coming up. So adrenaline, the adrenal cortex mediates stress response through production. God, I can't speak. I am no speaker of the house. Response through production of mineral corticoids and glucocorticoids and sex steroids as well. So cortisol is coming up here as well, such as aldosterone and cortisol respectively. And this is all coming up from em.wikipedia.org. So the adrenal gland symptoms and ear sounds and tinnitus were coming up. Different things were coming up. Deficiency in enzymes, the 3-beta hydroxysteroid, dehydrogenase reduces adrenal hormones and various degrees of salt wasting and abnormal sexual organ development. So there's a connection here between the adrenals and the sexual organ development, and there's something about the ear or the inner ear that needed to come up in connection with this, and I'm not sure that I have that fully developed yet, but there is a connection. So accelerated hypertension was coming up, as well as achalasia. So Addison's disease was coming up here, and having absent tears, adrenal deficiency due to resistance to adrenocorticotropic hormone, and swallowing difficulties. So again, this is usually an inherited thing, but neuro impairment and motor and sensory neuropathy is progressive. Achard-Thers syndrome also is coming up as a hormonal disorder in diabetic postmenopausal women, with hirsutism, which is male hair growth and voice changes. And then acoustic neuronoma came up, a benign tumor in the 8th cranial nerve in the tube connecting the inner ear to the brain. So that was coming up as related to the adrenal as well. So when you have overproduction of cortisol, that's Cushing's disease. When you have an insufficiency of cortisol, that's Addison's. So, and Cushing's comes up for me because the doctor that I've referenced you all to before, which I'm sure he's still doing the cancer research he's doing. So I might as well give him a plug right now. So Dr. Jerome Check, he's a research doctor. He does a lot of work with Adderall, but also the drug that they use for Cushing's disease, which is why Cushing's is coming up here. Because the FDA study that he's been doing has to do with people who have been written off with cancer. There's nothing else they can do for him. For them, he had to choose a certain cancer to do with the FDA, of course, because they won't do all cancers. But and I think it's non-small lung cancer. The actual study is for. But the using this Cushing's drug as the drug for this research study is actually, you know, I can't give any, or he can't give any results of the study because they're not allowed to do that, but it's very promising. So I would, if you know anyone who's been written off with cancer and they want a hope and possibly a way to stay alive, I would definitely call this doctor, Dr. Jerome Check, and Again, if you qualify the study, if you have non-small cell lung cancer and you go on the study, you actually get the drug for free for the rest of your life. So it's definitely worth checking into if you know someone. Certainly you can email me if you'd like more information about Dr. Check. And you can look him up online. He's definitely on the FDA website. Anyway, so Cushing's comes up and Addison's. So the adrenal cortex comes up. And this was interesting because just as they were talking about the third eye and the fourth eye, and then there's 3 layers, and there's a 4th layer outside the circle, just like we talk about the 3 rings. So the 3 rings would be referencing the pie, right, that we've lived with up till now, like staying within the human limits. But the phi takes us outside the human limits of the human body. And the adrenal cortex was coming up as another example. The outermost layer of the adrenal gland is the 4th layer. Within the cortex are 3 layers called zones, each with a different function and production of hormones, aldosterone, cortisol, and androgens. So it lists the different zones and what they do. And then the medulla is the center of the adrenal gland. The chromathlin cells are the body's main source of catecholamines. And here the cat was coming up, and the chrome, and adrenaline, and noradrenaline, or so epinephrine and norepinephrine, and replaced by, so 20% is the nor, and 80% is the adrenaline secreted here. So 80% of what the body secretes comes from the adrenal gland here. Driven by the sympathetic nervous system via the preganglionic fibers originating in the thoracic spinal cord. And if you listen to me regularly, the connection of the nervous system of the pineal gland does not go directly down the spine, which the pituitary gland does. It's connected to the top of the spine. But the pineal gland drops down to the thoracic or the heart area and then beelines over to the spinal nerve system. It doesn't directly go down the top of the spine. So this was very interesting because here, this is also connecting to the thoracic spinal cord from vertebrae T5 to T11, innervated by the preganglion nerve fibers and can be considered specialized sympathetic ganglion. And I love that they're ganglion because the gang, which we're talking about, the gang or the pack, the wolf pack, and the lion here. And that these words are used very much in the optical system as well when you look up the parts of the eye. So I'm not going to go into more about it, but you can look that up. But again, it was referencing the 4 parts. There's 3 in the middle, but the outer layer is the 4th. And then we go to, they were guiding me to the adrenal being related to the ear. So then I'm like, well, what, nothing comes up when you put in the adrenal system in the ear. And then it guided me to the cochlea, the hairs, which that means in Greek, spiral or snail shell. So that's the spiral bone that's inside your ear, so the inner ear. And it was taking me to the organ of the corti, the sensory epithelium, the sensory hair cells, powered by the potential difference between the perilymph and the endolymph, the hair cells, the hair-like structure called the stereocilia. So that's easy to remember, like a stereo and cilia. And they convert the sound to the nerve impulses, which then brings to the brain to decipher those impulses. But again, the organ of corti, just like the adrenal, is 4 rows. The 4th on the outer, and then the 3 rows. 3 rows within that are outer hair cells, and then there's 1 row separate, which is the inner hair cells. So it's kind of like the reverse of the other. The other was the 1 on the outside and the 3 on the inside, and this is the 1 on the inside and the 3 rows on the outside. So there's like an inverse relationship here between the adrenal system and the inner ear system. So if anyone out there has any more to add about the connection between the two, I would love to hear that. But all that's coming up from enm.wikipedia.org. So then I got a scam call from Uwchlan, PA, Uwchlan, PA, and that was at 4:44. But the cilia, the hairs are very important here because they're electrical transducers. And then I was getting the speed of sound, breaking the sound barrier and symbols for that. And then literally I was getting that symbols are a symbol for breaking the sound barrier, symbols, clanking cymbals together. So the 3D cochlea looks like, oh, I wanted to see, and then I came across this. This is a picture of the cochlea, but it literally looks like, what does that look like? Conjoined twins. And I literally saw, sorry about all the hairs, my blanket sheds all over the place. I literally saw conjoined twins on the news yesterday, and then I saw this when I was looking up the inner ear, and it looked exactly like the conjoined twins. So that's the inner ear. The cochlea looks like conjoined twins, which I saw earlier, because they were reporting the twins' separation. So the speed of sound was coming up as about 767 miles per hour, which is 1234 kilometers per hour, or 1125 feet per second. An increase in the aerodynamic drag when approaches the speed of sound, breaking the sound barrier, produces a sonic boom. So there's something breaking the sound barrier here. And you notice those numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, of course, shut the door with the kilometers, and the miles were 767, and 76 is the Knight of Pentacles. 76 is the 8 of Pentacles, and 67 is the Knight of Pentacles, both, which are loyal servants and create. It has to do with that that humble servant manifestation energy. So back to the read, the sun is out exposing the Knight of Cups with clarity. The Knight of Cups being that one of love. The patient Page of Cups upright of the past, not expressing their feelings and desires about new information, exposed to the Knight of Cups upright. The Knight of Cups offering their love, overworking it, may not be working, and getting their wish of being happy with themselves. The High Priestess too, very soon cracking the whip with self-love when in need of mothering. In the recent past is the Six of Cups love, receiving big love from the King of Pentacles, overworking it, not sincere, no longer interested, stuck in their head without peace, with sudden events, explosions, eruptions, epiphanies, the injustice of sharing with the Queen of Cups reversed, the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or legacy, or community, the bridge on the journey to good news, the Three of Cups reversed, third party, or social distancing brings from implementing a plan with the King of Swords upright. The King of Pentacles upright and the King of Swords upright look like they're loving each other, tired of overworking and strategizing with negative groups and bad influences. And these could be brothers, best friends, soulmates, lovers, whatever it is. There's two men who are truly loving each other. The foundation here is the Page of Pentacles upright, the student, the invite, the opportunity, and the King of Wands reversed, uncomfortable with the Hierophant, Taurus, or marriage, religion, or institution. The Knight of Pentacles offering help to the Page of Swords, spreading the word. Perhaps the King of Wands reversed is the little brother to the King of Pentacles, uncomfortable with them helping the Hierophant or Taurus advertise or talk. Or the King of Wands reversed is taking the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles, or is, maybe the King of Wands reversed, perhaps taking the Page and the Knight of Pentacles to talk to the Hierophant or Taurus, or offering to pay for messaging services or for speech, perhaps, whether a speech or speech classes. The central energy here is the Five of Wands upright, on a quest to present the truth to awakened one at a distance, to release them with information and clarity of the Ten of Cups reversed, unhappy family or emotional cycle that's over at the present moment. The challenge being the Six of Pentacles, sharing, settling out, with Hierophant, which can be a marriage, a business, a contract, a religion, an institution, or a Taurus, suffering in silence, or a sister, someone who can't sleep, purging, having headaches, rising above, or awake and coming out, withholding or playing ball, magnetizing the gold coin, negative debates or holding back feelings and delays, in communication or travel, perhaps insecure without the tools to deal with the situation at 534, which is the Hierophant and the Eight of Wands, that back and forth energy, which then my daughter called from the airport. She was flying to Las Vegas. So the Emperor defenseless to the King of Swords, or doesn't feel a point to defending themselves. The Page of Cups reversed, no longer trying to find the right words. No point with the patient King of Swords receiving love, yet withholding from the King of Wands reversed, without a peaceful place, free to leap away from stardom, healing, dreams, or Aquarius, or dream girl, secret, high priestess, or intuition. Now the worst is over, and bliss is setting in with the Queen of Cups reversed, who can be someone who's just sad, or it can be someone who's being manipulative as well. So now the moon, nightshade, and that comes up from the Nightmare Before Christmas. Now the moon, nightshade, but calm seas, synchronicities radiating, healing, with or from lovers in a bold move, without option, powerless to the Knight of Cups, or dependent on them, or spending on them. The dark night, end, transition, forward, despite the slowdown, a positive, illumination in slow motion. 2 Cancers, 1 upright, 1 Libra reversed, Scorpio upright, Gemini upright, and Sag upright here. Perhaps the Page of Cups reversed is rejected, and the Queen of Cups reversed, Cancer, or the Page of Cups reversed may feel rejected by their Queen of Cups reversed mother or older sister, coming up as a Cancer, exposed vulnerability at night, or Leo or child's vulnerability to the Queen of Cups reversed mother or older sister. The Page of Cups reversed, patient angel with new passion on quest, the Knight of Cups offering love to third party, Magician reversed, insecure with the King of Wands reversed, and the Four of Wands home without peace, third party doing the daily, juggling, performing, ending, or going through death of perhaps a manly woman or womanly man, or Scorpio upright, Taurus reversed, Empress reversed, telling it how it is. Taurus reversed, Aquarius reversed, and or Aries, to Dark Night or Scorpio, messenger of truth rushing in with a message, perhaps about the worst being over, with the High Priestess, the secret, or Pisces, no more bleeding out and only bliss between the King of Cups upright and the Queen of Cups reversed. Soon for the Divine Masculine is the Seven of Cups upright, taking the steps to be happy with self and with the world, or with the Sealed Divine Feminine, with the Queen of Wands looking the other way. The Hierophant suffering in silence, and the Queen of Wands giving the Page of Pentacles a leg up, an opportunity or invitation to Six of Cups, kids or twins, to say hi, or Capricorn, a temptation, too much to resist. Grounding and integrating an offer or invite perhaps, home with the King of Cups, Capricorn and child, the King of Cups could be a child, who are close and getting along. The masculine sees himself as the King of Wands reversed here, offering new passion to open heart and free self from the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, stardom, healing, dreams that are too much hard work. The King of Cups, patient angel, or Sagittarius, balancing and taking one step at a time, being moderate with their savings, grounding and holding on loosely. The King of Wands exhausted and found a way out to a higher love. Aries upright, Aquarius upright, and Sag upright here. True love, this is a romance of a lifetime. Love yourself first. And new love, a new person has stirred your romantic feelings, come up here for the Divine Masculine. Around him, or how he is seen, is the indigo reversed. Deliberation, choking on their words, not letting go of the past. Home, insecure without the tools, and manipulative, but now the worst is over. The Queen of Swords speaking her truth, or telling the world about wounds and insecurities and grief at 606, which is the lovers times 2. At 607, which then references that Knight of Pentacles again, the 6 of the lovers, the 7 of the chariot. The block for the masculine is the 9 of swords, the suffering and silence, the hiding, the grieving by themselves, the purging. The grounding and integrating, bored with the Page of Wands reversed, and the Knight of Wands reversed, always up to something, or unhappy and inspired kids. Surrender, but even more so for the masculine here is domestic harmony, relationship change, and leadership. And the movie I watched last night was, I think it was called Hope Springs. It was a documentary about about cryo freezing human bodies, and it just turned 10 o'clock on my clock. So it's triple zeros behind the 1, the human. 1,000. 1,000%. It was just 55 on the clock here too. So the truth. No reunion and bold move for bulls to split. Independence now worst of nightmare over. High priestess secret, bliss. With the Queen of Cups reversed, sovereign home. With the King of Cups upright. And that can be siblings or a couple. Or mother and child. Sovereign without option but to release self from prison and implement a plan. The Ten of Cups reversed, unhappy or so over with this emotional cycle of the dumps. Sovereign, grounding and integrating and wishing on a star. The Knight of Cups in a coffee cup and planning a new life. The Divine Masculine working, feeling defensive or reacting about offering love, not received well. The Queen of Cups dumping a load, confessing to release self in a split or from a lie. Holding back time, money, and energy, holding their tongue. From the King of Cups reversed and the Queen of Wands upright, Hierophant or married with unhappy family or end to an emotional cycle. The Four of Pentacles, Scrooge, injustice. The Knight of Wands reversed, player, falling short in performance, in a bold move to travel and or ascend. Overworked Page of Pentacles, and Knight of Wands reversed, and Indigo reversed, and Six of Cups, loving kids or soulmates or fond memories, down memory lane of expansion and quest, the conflict, the games and competition, and challenged by sharing and taking the steps to purge it out at night, with or as sovereign, ending an emotional cycle of unhappiness or family end, on an island unto themselves, following the North Node to be love without paying for it. Overworked, coming out on the journey to the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, legacy, the Queen of Pentacles reversed, with fond memories, soulmate connections, Knight of Cups being love, and the Page of Pentacles opportunity to expand at night or with Cancer, and challenged by sharing, settling out, the King of Wands reversed, shaman or not, taking steps or stairway to heaven, insecure without the tools, purging, and sovereign. Ending an emotional cycle of unhappiness, wishing on a star for big love to wash over him without having to put out a lot of time, money, or effort for love. At 625, which is the Lovers and the Knight of Wands. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card from the energy deck, see what comes up. So for everybody watching, for the best and highest good of all those concerned, what do we need to know? What do we need to learn? Let's clear all negative energies across all dimensions of time, space, matter, and realities for the highest good of all those concerned, and fill that empty space with only beautiful divine love and diamond crystalline light. And so it is. What is our takeaway from this read today? Okay, hostilities. And this is the Page of Wands energy, 26. Okay, so there's a little bit of anger there that needs to come up, whether it's the Divine Masculine or children around them, or the inner child, which is the Page of Wands. The bottom of the deck is the Temple Path, which is 12, using wisdom and hanging out, being still to see new perspectives. And that can reference any kind of temple, religion as well. And then we have the 34 of the Eight of Wands, which comes up again. And this was the energy of the day today. Okay, so the Eight of Wands, of the arrows of love, expressing feelings and desires and allowing the outdoors indoors and opening the windows. So you may want to do that today to purify some of the air, the door to personal healing and happiness. We also have cornucopia, which is 11, which is justice, truth, and balance. Giving thanks every day, like Thanksgiving is every day, not just once a year. And then the angel of strength of the 50, of the 10 of cups. The need to have that emotional fulfillment when it's not, because it's coming up reversed today. Okay. And was that, this has actually come up reversed today too. And was the 34. I think the Eight of Wands was upright. Nope, they're all reversed. So these actually all came up reversed in the read today. So it's telling you what would be good for you, right? To open the windows and purify, let the outdoors in, to give thanks every day, not just once a year. that's the justice, reaping the rewards every day. And then instead of being unhappy or being with an unhappy family, to find your emotional fulfillment, to be strong and sovereign in your inner strength. Okay? So this is for Divine Masculine. So when you're feeling like that, it's because you're lacking this, which you can have in your everyday. So that's very important here. This could be a mother and child energy too, whether it's the masculine and his mother, or their partner and the children, or his anger, his inner child anger with his partner or mother. That could definitely be coming up here. And again, the temple path is the underlying energy. The energy underneath that card is the word of romance. Okay? So staying on path 33 is the Christ vibration, standing up for yourself, and then hanging out and being wise. Taking the steps needs to take. And that came up in the read as well. Okay, so sorry, I should have showed you this at the beginning, but this is the basic read today. And then the whole read in front of you. Okay. Okay, well, make sure it's 101. Rise and be love, you guys. Talk to you soon.